Let me share my screen. Okay, should be visible now. Okay, so hello everybody from my behalf also, as well. And in this short 20-minute presentation, let's first try to make like a rough picture of what is this mysterious ideal light that we want to achieve, and what is our understanding about the perfect light. And then I have quite a range of different examples over there. We will just briefly run them through, but they should be, we will cover them as kind of a setting up the stage for the ideas and for this thinking of the ideal light, because the way I see it, the perfect light is more like it's more like a philosophy. It's not the actual lighting situation. So to start with, we have always been interested about the controlling of the light, and Ledil, being optics supplier, we are obsessed about the controlling of the light. We are no longer playing with the shadows. Instead, we try to play with the optics. But always we want to create a light which is usable, and that's one of the cornerstones about our idea about the perfect light. If we think about the requirements for the ideal light, we have hugely varying setups and varying requirements. What is a perfect light for one application and one user group? Let's say industrial lighting will be very much not perfect light for some other aspects. And if you look at the big picture, we have a many different requirements. We have a different user groups. We have a lighting OEMs who want to differentiate from each other. We have a aesthetic requirements for the lights. Of course, we always must meet the functional requirements and the minimum requirements that the specifiers are putting at us. Sometimes we may have requirements even for originating from birds and bees and let's say turtles. We must be using certain very low CCT lights in certain coastal areas so that we are not distracting the breeding of the sea turtles. We may have a seasonal changes. Cost is, of course, one of the big factors in search of the perfect light. It's not very feasible if we have a luminaire or lighting fixtures which are so expensive that nobody can afford to use them in practice. And then, of course, trends are always shaping the. So you can see how huge and kind of a holistic problem this perfect light or search for the perfect light can be. But we can help with the optics. We can shape the light so that we can actually achieve the perfect lighting. Why do we want to use optics? We can take the very basic light distribution of the LED. The light from the LED is pretty much going all over the place. And then we can use the power of optics to shape the light so that we can actually achieve, we can increase the uniformity of the lighting. We can control very precisely where the light is going to be. And also, as part of that control, we can take the light away from the places where it can be harmful. We can increase the efficiency. this is always a nice topic, because usually at this moment we get somebody saying that, but your optical efficiency is less than 100. You are actually losing the efficiency. And that's actually true. Yes, we are losing a little bit of light, but we can utilize the power of the optics to actually focus the light into where it's needed. And then that way we can increase the in-use efficacy of that specific application. We can eliminate some color issues in the LEDs. We can make the spectral output of the LEDs look more uniform in some cases. And overall, utilizing optics in your search for the next perfect light emitting fixture will generally tend to increase the comfort of the lighting, and it will definitely allow you to use those quite simple LEDs in more advanced applications. Like, for example, street lighting is a very good example. And it will help you. You can use optics as light shaping devices to create something that can actually be application enabling device, allowing you to reach that perfect light in almost any application, maintaining using the same quite simple light sources. And that's one of the reasons why we have such a huge widest portfolio on the market, that we really want to cover these different applications. And if we look at these applications more in detail, what our customers have done, what you can achieve, I think one aspect of the perfect light is like a very good example of the practical perfect light is if you are able to illuminate the streets on the nighttime without using any electricity from the grid. You have a standalone, self-sustained street lighting setup where, with the high efficacy of the optics, you can actually illuminate those streets for a longer time. Here, the requirements for the perfect lighting originate from the specifiers telling how great intensity we must have on the streets, and also from the technical point of view that you must achieve the illumination without using any outside electrical power. Another fantastic example of perfect light is perfect light can make car drivers stop on the red lights in Russia when there are pedestrians crossing. So you can use perfect light for increasing the safety of the people on the streets. And I think in this case we have quite ingenious way of utilizing the light to actually create almost like a physical barrier for those car drivers to really get their attention, and also make sure that they will be noticing the pedestrians crossing the road. Or you can use the perfect light to actually create something that nature has already perfected, and you can bring back the sunlight on the nighttime for illuminating some nature's spectacles. Like in this case, our customers were using the perfect light to actually imitate a pre-sunset lighting on these specific rocks, and then emphasizing them. Or we can use a perfect light to create something which is very cute and adorable and easily approachable. Yet still, it will be very functional, and or we can use perfect light to we can make a light which is perfect for growing the plants and grass on the football fields, or we can have light that is perfect for humans working in the factory. So sometimes a perfect light can be very small and like very discreet, unnoticeable. Like in this case, we are creating a mini parks for the house plants using miniature optics to build a perfect light for illuminating the plants. Or sometimes it can be very big, very flamboyant, like in this case, having a perfect illumination in the Basilica of San Francisco. That's one of the UNESCO's World Heritage places. A funny anecdote about this project: after they created this lighting inside this basilica, the frescoes over there, of course, we had to be very careful about the spectral content of the light in this setup, not only to make sure that the frescoes will really stand out, but also to make sure that they will not be destroyed by excessive blue light content or something similar, which would be harming those delicate colors. But the funny anecdote is that there were lots of frescoes in this basilica that just people didn't really notice, and many of them were actually asking, and some of them complaining about the people who have repainted the frescoes. But all we did, we just introduced the proper, perfect lighting in this setup. So that was a quick run through with the help of some examples, but I think everything boils down to this slide that the way we see it is, for us, perfect light is a light that is right. And in order for that light to be right, it has to be right in that application. It has to be well thought out, well laid out, built with the good components, and there shouldn't be no compromises done. So that was my brief run through about these, and I guess now we have some time for the questions.